Hello, my brilliant students. A massive welcome to all of you, my WAEC, NECO, and JAMB candidates. In today's exam-focused lesson, we are going to absolutely master momentum, impulse, and Newton's laws of motion. You know this topic is a huge part of your syllabus, and trust me, it's a guaranteed area for questions. So let's dive in and make sure we secure every single one of those marks. All right, here's our battle plan. First, we'll do a quick intro that's straight from your syllabus. Then, we're going to master Newton's laws. After that, we dive into the juicy stuff, momentum and collisions, complete with worked examples. And the best part? We're going to solve real past questions from WAEC, NECO, and JAMB. Then, we'll wrap it all up with the key formulas and some winning tips. You see? A clear path to success. Look, everything we're covering today is pulled directly from your official syllabus. We're talking Newton's laws, linear momentum, impulse, the all-important conservation principle, and collisions. Now, why should you care so much? Because getting this one topic right can easily fetch you over 15 marks in your exam. Yes, this is a high score, guys, so let's give it our 100% attention. Okay, let's begin with the absolute bedrock of mechanics, Newton's three laws. Seriously, you can't really get a handle on momentum or collisions if you don't nail these principles first. Just think of this as the foundation we're going to build everything else on today. Get this right, and the rest becomes so much easier. First up, we have Newton's first law, which you probably know as the law of inertia. All it really says is that an object likes to keep doing what it's already doing. If it's sitting still, it wants to stay still. If it's moving, it wants to keep moving in a straight line at a steady speed. Unless, of course, a force comes along and messes things up. You know this. Think about when you're in a danfo and the driver suddenly slams the brakes. What happens? Your body lurches forward, right? That's inertia. Your body wanted to keep moving. That is the first law in action, right there on the streets of Lagos. All right, on to the second law, and listen up, because this one is the big deal for calculations. The official definition is that the net force on an object is equal to the rate of change of its momentum. Now, for most of the questions you're going to face, the mass stays constant. So this whole thing simplifies down to that famous equation we all know and love. F equals ma. Force equals mass times acceleration. Simple, powerful, and as you can see, it's already hinting at a deep connection to momentum, which we're getting to very, very soon. And finally, Newton's third law. It's so elegant. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. That's it. When a rocket launches, it pushes hot gas down. That's the action. In return, the gas pushes the rocket up. That's the reaction. Equal and opposite. When you're swimming, you push the water backward. That's action. The water pushes you forward. Reaction. The key takeaway here is that these forces always come in pairs. Excellent. Now that we have Newton's laws locked in, let's build on that foundation and move into the physics of impact. We're talking about momentum, impulse, and collisions. This is where things get really interesting because this is where we see how forces acting over a period of time can dramatically change how things move. So here we have two absolutely critical ideas. First, momentum. We use the letter P for it, and it's just the mass of an object multiplied by its velocity. It's kind of like a measure of how much oomph or motion something has. Then you have impulse, J. Think of impulse as the impact of a force over time. It's calculated as force times the time it acts. And here is the golden connection you must never forget. Impulse is what causes a change in momentum. So impulse equals the change in momentum. J equals delta P. That link is everything. Okay, let's put this into practice right away. Okay, we have a 0.5 kilogram ball and it gets hit by a 10 Newton force for just 0.2 seconds. We need to find its change in velocity. So what's our first step? Let's calculate the impulse. We know impulse is force times time, so that's 10 times 0.2, which gives us 2 Newton seconds. Simple enough. Now, we also know that impulse is equal to mass times the change in velocity, so we can say 2 equals 0.5 times delta V. To find delta V, we just rearrange the equation and we get our answer. The change in velocity is 4 meters per second. See? Straightforward. Okay, so when things crash into each other, we call that a collision. And for all collisions, there is one massive rule that holds true in a closed system: the principle of conservation of linear momentum. It just means the total amount of momentum you have before the crash is the exact same as the total you have after. But, and this is a big but, there are two types of collisions you need to know. In elastic collisions, both momentum and kinetic energy are conserved. Think of two snooker balls bouncing perfectly off each other. In inelastic collisions, momentum is still conserved, but, and pay attention here, kinetic energy is not. Some of it gets lost as heat or sound. This is what happens when things stick together after they collide. This difference is a huge favorite for exam questions, so make sure you know it. Let's see an inelastic collision in action with this example. We've got a 2-kilogram object moving at 4 meters per second. It hits a 3-kilogram object that's just sitting there at rest. And the key phrase is, they stick together. Okay, let's apply our big rule: conservation of momentum. What's the total momentum before the collision? Well, it's just the momentum of the first object, which is 2 times 4, so 8. The second object isn't moving, so its momentum is 0. Now, what about after the collision? They stick together. So now we have one combined mass of 5 kilograms moving with a new velocity v. So the final momentum is 5 times v. Now we just set the initial equal to the final. 8 equals 5v. We solve for v and we find their common final velocity is 1.6 meters per second. A perfect illustration of the principle at work. All right, people, you've learned the theory, we've crushed past questions, now it's time for our final debrief. Think of this section as your essential checklist to lock in all this knowledge and make sure you walk into that exam hall feeling 100% prepared. Right here are the formulas that are absolutely non-negotiable. You must know these. F equals ma, P equals mv, impulse equals F delta t, and that useful formula for the final velocity when two things stick together. I want you to pause the screen right here, take a screenshot, write these down in your notebook, do whatever you have to do to memorize them until they become second nature to you. And finally, let me give you some winning tips. Number 1, units. Don't throw away marks by forgetting your units. Number 2, remember that velocity, momentum, and impulse are all vectors. That means direction matters. Be careful with your positive and negative signs. 3, know the difference between elastic and inelastic collisions like the back of your hand. Another pro tip: if they ever give you a forced time graph, remember that the area under the graph is the impulse. And my most important piece of advice: always double check your calculations. Don't lose easy marks to simple mistakes. You've got this. If you found this lesson helpful, please do me a favor and like this video. Share it with your classmates and friends who are also preparing for WAEC, NECO, and JAMB. And most importantly, subscribe to our channel right now so you don't miss the next topic. Also, be sure to visit www.examkp.com for thousands of free practice questions and answers. Let's go smash these exams together.